Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kaiju Conversation. I'm your host, ET13 Productions, and joining me, as per usual, my co-host,
Haxorzilla. And today we have a guest, Birb. Hello, Birb.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
So, how have you guys been today?
I'm doing all right. I'm saving up to get that light, sound, and music Godzilla.
The KKK Godzilla?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna refer to it as that, but yeah. Found it at a shop for a decent price. I'm hoping to be able to get it pretty soon.
I don't believe I've been notified of whatever this light and sound and whatever
It's the
Godzilla
89
is.
Godzilla. SH Monster Arts.
Yeah, it's a Monster Arts.
Ah,
It's
okay.
like bigger than the Shin Godzilla figure. It's huge.
Interesting. Um, well, Haxor, how was your day? Anything cool?
Yeah, I watched 54. Specifically Godzilla.
Yeah.
Awesome. Was this your first time?
Yeah.
Cool. It's kind of funny that you watched it today because our topic for today is Daikaiju horror movies. Um,
Whoa!
yeah, I know,
Crazy!
right? It's
Christ,
such
man.
a coincidence, right?
Yeah, it's all.
Uh,
Yeah, wow! Pretty
um,
epic.
we are continuing our horror movie genre stuff. So this week we will be discussing horror movies. And last week, of course, we discussed horror movies in general, but this week we will be discussing giant monster horror movies. We didn't really touch on it last week with our special guest host, Justice. Um, but today we will be discussing this, and I think this is rather interesting because when you think of Daikaiju movies, you really don't think about horror. You think of two giant monsters in the middle of the day beating each other up in a city with fire breath. That's essentially what people think. They don't actually think about horror movies. Which there's actually a couple of horror movies, and they've influenced the giant monster genre more than we actually would think. So I guess to get things started, I know Haxor hasn't seen this, but I would say the first giant monster horror movie would be King Kong 1933.
2005 is pretty scary.
I mean,
Really?
uh, that's debatable. I feel like the reason why 33 was so scary is because just of how mysterious it was, and like stop motion at the time was a new form of animation, and nobody quite like understood it. It was mind blowing at the time, and I feel like the fact that they based an entire movie in which like nobody had really seen this before, like a giant ape kidnapping a lady and taking her to like the top of the Empire State Building and being shot down. Like nobody would really think about that. But like it 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 was revolutionary for the time, and I think a lot of the things that happened in that movie really made it like mysterious and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Burb. Definitely, especially when you think about the time it came out. Around that time, Dracula came out and people were screaming in terror, running out of the theater while that movie played. So definitely at that time, this was a full-blown horror
Monkeys and Dracula.
film.
uh but yeah, I just think like I feel like stop motion is also like a form of animation that can be used very well in horror. Like
Yes.
that's why it's difficult to like convey emotion. Like for example, 2D animation you can convey emotion so much easier, whereas like stop motion animation seems like it would be more for like the more obscure things. Stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and I know that when they were making, it was a John Carpenter film. It might have been, uh, well, oh no, it was Ray Harryhausen. I'm trying to
Beef,
remember which.
20,000 Phantoms or something.
It was Jason. No, uh, before Ray Harryhausen had done all of his films, he had done nursery rhymes, but in stop motion. And one of the hardest things was to bring out emotion in these characters that he was doing because of how you had to change the face. So yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely agree that stop motion animation is probably there's a reason why movies like Beetlejuice, um Nightmare Before Christmas, and a lot of those classic horror films used that technique.
yeah. Like, for example, in your series Quasar, Return of Quasar, like I noticed that was like something that was like quite. It was like the main focus, and like I feel like with figures and stuff like that, you can really. It works for more animalistic things, but I feel like if you were to do it like a human animation, it looks so much more uncanny. And I feel like since apes are kind of similar to humans, I feel like that's why the Kong in that movie was so like creepy looking.
Yeah. Um, and speaking of Kong and all that, Haxor, why would you say 2005 Kong is a horror movie? I'm really curious on your inputs on.
The natives and the bug pit scene.
What exactly was it that freaked you out about the natives and the bug pits?
I don't know. Just something about them scared me when I was little.
Yeah,
Now, correct me if. Go ahead, Birb.
no, it's fine. I just was gonna add that, like, I feel like the bugs were. I remember them being a little bit scary. Like when they first got on the island, it was a little bit scarier, but you get used to it.
Yeah. Um, would you say, now Haxor, I don't know if you know, but did Peter Jackson do any horror films prior to King Kong? I
I can
know
hold on.
The Cuddle
Haxor,
Bears movie?
um, didn't Lord of the Rings come out before, or was
I
that
think
after?
so.
Yeah, I think right here. Yeah, I think he did direct a horror movie. Um, I have not heard of it. Maybe you've heard of it, but it seems like he was. I don't know if he directed the movie or something like that, but he he made a movie I think called The Frighteners in 1996.
Oh, yeah. The
Yeah.
Frighteners.
Michael J. Fox is in it, if
Mm-hmm.
that rings any bells.
Yep.
What
It's
did
kind
Michael
of a
J.
horror
Fox do?
movie. The Frighteners.
Peter
Uh,
Jackson.
No,
wasn't
you
it
said something
based?
about Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, he's in
Yeah,
the
he
movie.
was.
He
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
Yep. I believe it was kind of a horror or a comedy too. A horror
Uh,
comedy, I believe, but I don't remember.
uh, yeah, I think it's a cult horror movie. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, what's funny is, and this doesn't date me at all, which is kind of funny, but the VHS cover for that freaked me out when I was younger, because it's a face, like, going through a wall, and you see the outline, you know? And it looked very horrifying at that time. But I didn't know he worked on that. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that is actually kind of neat.
But
Yeah.
what else, Haxor, would you say about '05 Kong? Like, what specific elements made it a horror film for you, or at least horror-ish esque? Haxor.
I'd say those are the only elements that make it scary.
I see. Is there any other of those Kong films that you would say are horror-esque? I don't really feel like any of the others portrayed it as well as they should have.
King Kong escapes because he's ugly in that. Actually, I think any Toho Kong movie is horrible because he's just terrifying. They did not do very well on the suits.
Yeah, that's kind of difficult to make
How
animals.
dare you?
How dare I? How dare you?
62 is the best Godzilla design besides the legendary Godzilla. That is not opinion, that is fact. Good day, sir.
I'm talking about Kong, you silly.
Yeah, Kong is a little horrendous with that.
I feel like
face.
there's a certain campiness to the 62 Kong.
I really like the octopus suit.
That
yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
actually use like a real.
Yeah,
I'm
and then
kidding.
they ate it. But there was a octopus.
I know it's a real octopus.
There was an octopus prop.
You're
there
Just
was.
whenever he had it on his face or something.
No, they just got a real octopus and had a guy in a suit beat it up.
That's child abuse.
I believe they actually used 3 octopi, and then Ejai Subaraya ate it for dinner. One of them.
Oh, jeez, wait, really? Oh, wait,
Yeah.
no, I think I heard about this. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wait, so if he had
The sea serpent from Kong Escapes is one of my favorite kaiju.
I don't have. Hold on, let me see what he looks like.
Don't
He's
at
also
me.
He's also non-copyrighted.
Wait, really?
Giant sea serpent for MonsterVerse.
Yeah, legendary if you're listening. Do that, even though I think
No,
I'd
don't
rather
do
see
it.
Odaku.
No, put Gamera in the MonsterVerse. Make a deal and get him in there.
But, so I guess that's all for Kong, really. There's not a whole lot else to discuss. But, why don't we talk about the obviously superior monster?
Oh, boy.
Specifically, we'll be quickly talking about the original 1954 one, because King of the Monsters 56, or as I like to say, King of the Monsters, because it's got an exclamation point at the end. That's the official title, not one without. All of you DVD companies, you're wrong.
Oh, he's calling you out.
Godzilla 54 is a horror movie, while I would argue that Godzilla King of the Monsters is more of a usual 50s B-movie flick. So, I know, Haxor, you said you watched it for the first time today, but what do you guys think about this as a horror movie?
Well, I feel like for the time, because, like, this happened right after Hiroshima, right?
About 10 years.
Close enough. This happened, it happened, like, in that sort of time period. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I feel like since it was, like, right after, like, nuclear testing became, like, a big thing, they wanted to make a statement on it almost. And, like, they basically showed it by giving us an idea of, wow, it created such a monster that the thing that we destroyed came back to destroy us.
Yeah.
And I feel like that. I feel like that's something that was really not cool, but like it was an interesting topic, and I think the way they did it was good.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
And really, when you look at it, they kind of filmed Godzilla in a way to make him more of a. It seemed darker than it should have been, really. Like, for a Godzilla movie, it's vastly dark. The tones are a lot darker, the messages are darker. And Godzilla also is a lot darker. He actually goes out and kills people
Yeah.
deliberately.
Other than 2014 not being a villain, I'd say that's a darker movie.
Well, Godzilla, like, never actually attacked anybody. That's kind of like Godzilla actually looked over a building and saw a police car with cops around it, and burned them alive. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like Godzilla's out to kill people. Like, he's deliberately stopping and killing them. The newscasters taking photos and all of that of him. He deliberately tears down that tower. He walks through. But I feel like 54 is a lot more of a darker, more serious tone. I mean, 2014 was filmed dark, but it's not that dark really when you think about it. Other than the kiss of death, everything else is pretty lighthearted for a Godzilla movie too.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that. Because think about the opening scene, because I think Monster Island Buddies might have said it himself. I think he has the opening to that movie is like one of the strongest and like most like blockbusters. Like how he has to go in, and pretty much what he has to do is he has to decide between uh what's his name? The guy from Breaking Bad. What's Bryan
Bryan
Cranston?
Cranston.
Yeah.
Malcolm.
I feel like it has one of the strongest openings as well, because it starts out with him having to decide whether to save his wife or letting the entire city just melt, basically.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I feel like it's definitely dark. I feel like the tone is very, very dark the entire time Bryan Cranston is on stage.
Yeah, he definitely brought more of a darker tone to the film when he was in. And definitely, I mean, it is kind of dark that he stood there and shut the door on his wife, and she died literally inches away from him.
Yeah, that's
And
so
then,
crazy.
yeah, and then he dies from trying to save people, and all his son can do is stand and watch. And then
It's so
they ruin
intense, and I love it.
I mean, for the record, they did kind of ruin the best character in that movie. But
Yeah.
Godzilla itself, I don't think, other than another film we'll be discussing towards the end of the episode, I don't really think Godzilla's been portrayed as a dark villain, or even dark as much as he was in the original release.
Yeah. I think we're getting a little bit too off topic here. Let's go back to 54.
Yeah.
Okay. Sick. So I feel like from his entrance to like his main theme in that movie, like
Mm-hmm.
it's like on a piano, right? It's like it's all intense, right?
Are we still talking about Godzilla, or are we talking about it now?
Godzilla.
We're talking about 54.
Oh.
Like just how intense the score is for that movie, and like his first appearance, like where he appears over like
The mountain, yeah.
and he just kind of pops out, even though in the words of Jobby the Hong, he's like a dead Muppet. He pops out from behind the mountain. I feel like though it's just really kind of like an intense score and stuff as he's destroying the mainland and just laying waste to all he has. And
Sound design of the movie was pretty poopy.
I will admit the sound design isn't very good, but for the time, I feel like it was pretty good. And I think I watched a review on it where it kind of brought up the point where it's the editing is a bit weird, but that it makes sense for the time because I think the director wanted it like that.
Yeah. I definitely feel like the original 54 film, and I probably should have rewatched it, but I'm 98% sure this is what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the opening shot is of a city, or not city, a ship being burned in flames as they message SOS to get out of there.
Yeah, I think
I didn't know what they were saying, so I will neither confirm nor deny that.
Yeah.
But
I think continue.
Oh.
Sorry.
Basically, it's like from the moment Godzilla is in it, which is literally, it's very soon after the movie starts, how his presence is already there. But the moment he gets there, he's already killing people. He's burning up these ships. He's killing people, and then he just continues to run rampant and kill people and destroy cities until he can stop. So he's definitely out, and he's not giving a crap what he does.
I think I know I've kind of said this before, I sound like a broken record, but I think the fact that it shows Godzilla come onto the mainland and then everybody is super terrified and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it gets super, super intense really quick, like how you said.
And speaking of the mountain, originally he was supposed to pop over with a cow hanging from his mouth. So
oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. How
yeah,
it was supposed to be like a dead cow in his mouth. That would have been crazy dark.
the reason why they cut it was actually too gory and horrific for that time.
Huh. I mean, I can see what they mean, but I feel like it also would have fit, you know?
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry. I feel like though one scene that I want to point out that makes it really really scary almost is the scene where the with the mom and everything's safe
Yeah.
them and
We'll be joining Daddy soon.
yeah their house is just crumbling and stuff. I thought that was really dark, very, very intense topic, and I feel like they handled it pretty well.
Yeah. They definitely put in the metaphor for Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
For that. And like we were saying about sound, the music in it also is very dark. Prayer for Peace, that is almost like it would be played at a morgue.
Yeah,
After the city's destroyed, the
with the intense piano and
yeah, it's all very dark. Just like Terror of Mechagodzilla, that also reused a lot of the more darker, you have the piano, but it's very dark, it's very slow, menacing. And it really puts on this persona of a horror-esque.
and then they basically destroyed that message with 98.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Do you think we have anything? Okay. No, cut this. Why did you create a random chat? That's so weird. Okay. Sorry. I forget what I was saying. I'm sorry. But
Okay.
I feel I just feel like 1954 was so revolutionary for its time, and I feel like it really kind of showed why Godzilla was a threat to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Like, just, we had really never seen something like this, and it was the first time, and it was the very first time we ever really got to see, like, a suit, like, an actual person walking around in a suit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it was revolutionary, and, like, the fact that Haru Nakajima, rest his soul, like, literally went out and wanted to, like, look at certain types of animals and investigate their behavior to improve, kind of studied animals to better his performance as this big, menacing, tyrannical beast is, like, it's really cool, and I'm happy they did it. And it just bettered his performance, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. Well, do you guys feel like Haxor, what are some more of your thoughts on Godzilla 54 being more in the horror-esque?
I don't really see it.
What do you see, Haxor? Kind of get an alternate view on this film.
I don't really know. Just seeing it so far into loving Godzilla so much, I just see it as another Godzilla.
See? So what genre would you say it is under? All the subgenres.
Probably sci-fi.
Sci-fi? Okay. Well, I guess we've covered that fairly well. I guess we can move on to our next Godzilla movie. One of the most psychedelic films I've seen.
Oh,
One of
no.
the weirdest films I've seen, and kind of middle road for me. Godzilla versus Hedorah.
More like the 60s as a movie, am I right?
Yeah.
LSD is great.
No, it's not. Okay.
But what do you guys think about the film under the horror genre? Do you see that, or what do you see if you do
Okay.
see that?
There's a part of it that traumatized me as a little boy.
Was it the skeletons?
It was not the skeletons. I actually didn't give half a crap about those people. I was like, oh, they're dead. Cool. I think the part that actually did scare me was the scene where they were all doing drugs and they were like all dancing in the strip club bar place or whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like what was crazy about it was they're just chilling. They're being a bunch of crazy drug people, and then like just the sludge starts like going down the stairs and everything, and it's crazy because like it's just going down the stairs. And the part that scared me was the part where like it shows the cat just covered in sludge and like you see like it's in pain and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that part, I was like, no!
That part's funny.
What is wrong with you?
That's animal cruelty on like a whole nother level.
Yeah. Haxor, are you okay?
Physically, sure. Mentally, no.
Oh,
Ah. That explains a bit.
that explains not a bit, it explains a lot.
Real quick, I do just want to say, like, out of any of the Godzilla films, this was probably the only one when I was a kid that actually gave me a nightmare.
It was?
Yeah, and I think part of it was the people changing colors faces thingy and the weird part where they have the baby crying in the sludge and the fisherman and it all starts to change into multiple colored squares or whatever.
Yeah, like was
That
it the animation part or whatever?
the animation didn't get me as much, but it was very jarring watching the animated stuff when I was younger.
Yeah, like it it was definitely like an intense thing that happened. All right, so you were talking about like the whole squares thing, where like the people were like their skin was changing, and then they just changed into skeletons, whatever.
That, and then the whole part in the movie where it's hard to explain. It's got the multiple people like saying, kill Hedra, we gotta find a way to kill him with oxygen, all that, and you've
And they were
got
like
the
throwing like torches at him and stuff.
no, it wasn't that. It's where they're all in these little squares on the screen, and it just keeps popping up, and they're like doubling, and then eventually there's like 200 of them on the screen, and then they just start turning into like yellow, red, orange, blue squares, and it gets. I don't know if I'm describing this very well, but
I haven't seen that movie in a while, but uh like I think it sounds pretty crazy.
yeah, I don't think I could mentally take the film. It just freaked me out.
I mean, the 60s was a crazy time. Very
And what's
crazy.
funny is it came out in the 70s.
But like wasn't it 68 or was that Destroy?
Destroy all
71.
monsters.
Yeah, months.
No, yeah, 71. Yeah. My mistake. Um but like I feel like Godzilla it's like all this treacherous thing and then Godzilla gets out of the it's like ugh! What why is all my fish dead? What's going on?
Yeah.
He just comes in and then tries fighting Hedorah like a few times, and then he gets his butt kicked the first few times, and then he comes back and like just they have a fight and he just beats him up and stuff. I feel like this movie was very like well made for its time. Well, no, I take that back. Wrong statement. I feel like this movie I feel like it was definitely like important for the time when like pollution started becoming a bigger thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it was important that it was made. It's a weird one, sure, but like I feel like it was a good thing that made it. And like
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm not even gonna talk about some of the reason why Hedorah looks the way he looks because I think we already know what that is.
Yeah.
And then he got a complete design overhaul.
Wait, what does Hedorah look like?
I'll talk to you about it
No,
after.
say it right now.
We'll talk about it after the podcast. We're going to keep it G-rated. But yeah, the movie, it's very weird, and like when you read about potential sequels, Red Moon was one, Hedra 2 is another. It gets very weird. It's kind of horrifying to think that they would have made another one of those.
Yeah, I feel like Godzilla versus Hedorah, because it bought into people's fear about like if we pollute too much, it's going to trash the planet, and then Trash Man is going to come and kill us.
Yeah. What's funny is Tomiyuki Tanaka hated the movie so much that he told I think it was him. I'm pretty sure he told Yoshimitsu Banno that he would never work on another Godzilla movie for as long as he worked at Toho.
Dang.
And yeah, no, he actually never worked on another one until 2014, which he's EP. And for people at home, that's executive producer. And he worked a little bit on King of the Monsters before he passed away, but he's still credited as
Dang.
executive producer. And he gets loving memory mentioned. So, yeah.
Yeah, didn't he get it at the end of King of the Monsters?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
But it's definitely interesting to think what could have been if we had stayed on with the Hedra stuff.
Yeah, like I would have liked, as weird as he was, I would have liked to potentially see like where it could have gone. Like, I think there was like a concept where like he just become like a bunch of sludge and just like enveloped Godzilla. Like I know he did that thing where he basically like got he got Godzilla in a pit and he just like dumped a bunch of trash on him and Godzilla just kind of sank in it. But I think there was a kind where like he just turned into complete sludge and just like attacked Godzilla, whatever.
He did crap on him. So yeah, I don't know what they were thinking,
yeah. Okay.
but I'm trying to think what would have happened. Like Haxor, I guess we can move on to you. What did you think of the film, especially in the horror elements?
One word. LSD.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Hey, we're a bunch of high people. Oh, look, a giant monster. Oh, look, another monster. They're just gonna beat the crap out of each other. And we'll
And LSD is pretty freaking creepy for any of you at home who's tried it.
You haven't
And
even
if you
tried
haven't, don't. It's bad for the health.
Damn it!
Hey,
It's
kids, drugs
Stay
are whack.
drug free.
Drugs are bad, okay?
Drugs are bad.
Now moving on, the next film I have on my list, I haven't seen, and I know Birb hasn't seen, but Haxor, you said you've seen it. 2006's, I believe. It was a South Korean movie called The Host. Not the host based off the book, that's awful, and I read that. The good host with the monster that comes out of the ocean and eats people. That's all I know about it. Then carries a girl with its tail. What can you say about that film, Haxor?
One, it's not Daikaiju. Yeah, I've seen it. I got it at a weird movie store that was down. So watched it. And it has some, like, I wouldn't say scary, but just weird, gross parts. I don't know. It's been a while since I watched it. It's like 2 years ago. It's nothing to write home about. It's not a horror movie. It's not great.
I've just heard.
But I think there was a planned sequel, but it got scrapped.
Out. Birb, what do you know about the film? Or
Fish
have
monster
seen?
land and eats a bunch of Korean people. I've heard.
Yeah, that's essentially all I know too. Like,
But from what I have seen, it's actually quite like maybe that's just me judging early on, but like it looks actually decently scary. I remember seeing it like parts of it like when I was a lot younger, and I was like, "Whoa, this is intense!" Like the fish literally like the thing comes out of the water, it just grabs her tail and it just kind of drags her away, which was pretty intense in my opinion. It's what I like about it is it's a monster movie where the monster isn't that big. Like I feel like
yeah,
those kinds of movies, I feel like they're pretty unique, and I like that. Like, I think what's really cool is how, like, they're smaller than buildings, so they can like, they're not. It's like in the Jurassic Park movie, where they're not too big, but they're decent sized. I think that's pretty cool. But I've heard it is a pretty scary movie. I don't know. I'm going off of Haxor's opinion, but I mean, I'd want to watch it today. It's on my list, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I gotcha. Haxor, would you recommend this film
I
to people?
mean, if sure.
Do you have to be like specific in taste, or would you just recommend this to anybody?
Um, I'd say specific in taste. But even if you like slasher movies, I'd say watch it or something.
Hmm, interesting.
Seems like there's a
Um,
lot of shots of it running up behind people.
anyway, Haxor, is there anything else you would say about the movie itself, or just
It
that's
has a
basically
weird subplot of a virus thing.
A
really?
virus.
Mhm.
From what little I saw, it looked like it was a love story, giant monster, horror, slasher film, but this sounds like it's a very interesting film. It sounds like there's a whole lot going on.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's rare that movies can have a bunch of subplots and juggle it well. You
Yeah.
know,
But what's this virus subplot unless Birb, do you want to get spoiled potentially?
I don't really care.
Okay.
Um,
And spoiler alert, I guess, at home, if you're listening. So if you
Turn
really want to
off
see
this
the
set.
movie, yeah,
Justice,
go
Justice,
watch the film.
Justice will put like a timestamp or something where we are done talking about it or whatever.
Oh, you can't do that on Google Play.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Anyway,
All right.
as you were, the Haxor.
I vaguely remember it, but like towards the last bit of the towards halfway through the movie, people start getting sick. Because the monster has like some sort of disease that it gives. I can't remember. And like a city gets quarantined, and it's the city where the sister, or I can't remember, is being daughter, I think, is being like held captive by the monster.
That's weird. That
Huh.
almost sounds like what happened in Cloverfield. But
Speaking of Cloverfield, that's our next movie on the list.
who would have known?
Yeah. Does anybody else have any last thoughts on The Host?
Considering Haxor's the only one who's seen it, I can't really say.
Yeah, same here. But we've all seen the 2008 found footage movie Cloverfield.
I really like that. I recently saw it. I think I saw it. I want to say I saw it a few months ago, and I gotta say it was really really good. I liked it a lot.
I can't stand the part where the lady blows up.
The what does?
The lady in the hospital where she kind of blows
Oh
up and
yeah,
goes.
where her stomach blows up. Yeah, that's a little bit of a weird, disgusting scene.
But like I feel like that's the virus.
I don't feel so good.
If,
Yeah,
if my boy, I think he might have been on your show. If my boy Meme Lord Vape is watching it, I think he would definitely know a lot about it because he's a huge Cloverfield fanatic. He loves it to death. And he can really tell you about the anatomy and stuff of the monsters and the parasites and everything.
yeah. Yeah, that's a future plan of ours is to discuss the Cloververse, so that might be a little sneak peek or hint towards that. Um, you never know. But I guess, Haxor, we'll start with you this time. What do you think about the movie Cloverfield?
It's been a really long time since I last watched it.
So, what's your thoughts on the movie?
It's fun, I guess.
I think for a found movie, it definitely keeps your attention. I feel like, I feel like, for example, the Blair Witch Project, while that is like one of the movies where it's like, I think that was the movie that like kind of revolutionized.
It was the first real big one.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have footage, let's just use it and make a movie out of it. We don't have the budget really. And then I feel like lots of studios kind of want to make that idea, and the fact that I think this was the first real monster movie to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, Haxor, would you classify it as a horror movie? I know so far you've
A
been...
thriller.
Thriller, okay.
Thriller!
Okay. Real quick, what is the difference between horror and thriller?
Horror has gore and more, like, it's more frightening than just thriller.
I don't know, I have to disagree with you, because I feel like horror doesn't necessarily need to be gore and blood and all that stuff. I feel like horror needs to be a sense of mystery almost, a sense of dread, and like something, an unstoppable force or something like that, and you don't know how to stop it. For example, I think it came out 2018, or no, it came out this year. Movie Us, which I recently saw.
No.
What? What are you trying to say? I feel like actually no, that's a bad example. It has a lot of gore in it, but like
Alien.
My opinion is better.
Haxor, I will crucify you.
I will
Krampus.
personally come to your house and
Krampus.
hit you.
Krampus has one scene with a little blood in it, and it's not even very gratuitous.
I don't like Krampus because Todd Packard dies.
Well, we'll discuss that in a moment, but yeah, I honestly have to agree with Birb on this. As a person who loves the idea of a horror movie and wants to make a horror movie, really, I believe horror just has to get you scared. It has to get you stressed out, anxiety.
Thriller and horror. Thriller is scary, but it's not as scary as horror.
I feel like thriller is just a type of...
It might be a subcategory, yeah. But, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Birb, have you seen the movie Gothica with Robert Downey Jr.?
I have not seen that. Krampus, I feel like, because that was made by Michael Dougherty, right?
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a few minutes.
Okay.
But, if you want to use it as an example, go for it.
Yeah, like, I feel like I can kind of see, like, the same kind of directing in there. Like, it can be very intense at times, but, like, he sneaks into comedy. It's like, he has a certain style of comedy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like you can really see that in Krampus.
Didn't the guy that direct Cloverfield direct Superman Returns?
What? J.J. Abrams?
No, J.J. Abrams didn't direct it. He was producer.
Alright, so Cloverfield. I felt like the monster, I feel like this was kind of like the first real time a monster was supposed to be more mysterious and terrifying. It wasn't supposed to be like a big lumbering beast. It was supposed to be more agile. And like,
wait, are there any cuts in the film?
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Like,
there's plenty of cuts.
Yeah, like it's not just all one footage. Like there's like a cut where they're like in a helicopter and then they're down on the ground. Like it cuts around quite a bit, but like the cool part about it is what makes it is because it's mysterious, because you don't see Cloverfield very much in the movie
until you buy the Hasbro toy.
Well, I mean,
all $500,000 for it.
It's $5,000.
I've
It's like
seen
500.
got
Oh,
there's like one on eBay that I saw that's like for like 300, but like it's still a ridiculous price. Now what was I gonna say? Okay. So I feel like the reason why it's scary is because you don't know what the monster is until like you get a first glimpse of it when it trashes like one of the buildings and like you see it attacking tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not really seen very much, and that gives it a sense of mystery and like it leaves it up to the imagination, and that's what's so terrifying.
Yeah. Okay, so I was wrong about him directing Superman Returns. He is
isn't that Mike Doherty?
No. No, he wrote that movie. Matt Reeves is directing The Batman in 2021. He
No, he's not.
did both he did War for the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Who's Donna?
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And that's basically all he's done that are actually really big other than Cloverfield. So, fairly good director. But, oh, go ahead.
I mean, it's weird. They're starting to give, or actually no, I think they've done it more. The treatment for Batman, he's been rebooted so many times. It's just kind of like a lost cause. Almost seems
Yeah.
like,
But, yeah. In Batman's, I think people are going to get tired of him, which we might discuss him a little bit down the road. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about Cloverfield-wise? Should I just...
Cloverfield's cool. He's a big lanky boy. He destroyed the Statue of Liberty.
Lanky.
For those in New York, what you gonna do about it?
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to say, I think, personally, I thought that, Cloverfield, like Birb said, it really was a revolutionary found footage. The fact that it used giant monsters instead of the usual mystery in the woods or creatures walking down. It was very cool, and I feel like that it definitely deserved more praise than it did. However, the first trailer for it came out literally 2 weeks before the movie came out. So, yeah,
Wait, the first trailer came out 2 weeks before the actual movie?
if I recall, yes, it came out 2 weeks before. But that's Cloverfield's thing, is it likes to be that mystery. When it was filming, they used Big Cheese, and that's what everybody knew it by.
Huh.
They used cheese?
That was the name of it, was Big Cheese.
just the mouse from Barnyard, Biggie Cheese.
But it's kind of weird to think that the trailer came out 2 weeks before. But I mean, it also makes sense. Like Cloverfield Paradox's trailer came out an hour before the movie
Yesterday.
dropped.
That's weird. I mean, at this rate, so is the Godzilla movie.
Yeah,
cow.
Godzilla vs. Kong is not going to come out forever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, do you guys have anything else you want to bring up about Cloverfield, or should we
Movie
go ahead
sucked.
and move on?
I want
Kidding.
I want Cloverfield to come back, and I want Zilla to come back, and I want them to fight.
Cloverfield would
I
win.
honestly, when I was little, Godzilla vs. Cloverfield was a thing.
Oh.
I was so excited to watch it, but then my dad told me it didn't exist, and then the dresser fell on top of me.
What?
Because I was pretending to be Godzilla and Cloverfield fighting, and I jumped onto my dresser pretending it was a building, and it fell on top of me.
Yikes. Ouch.
And
That's a
when I was
good
little,
note to end.
I always thought Rodan was Gamera, and Gamera was Rodan.
That's weird.
Oof.
Same day.
that's a good note to end it on for Cloverfield. Falling down with a dresser on top of you. So before we wrap things up with the MonsterVerse, we are going to touch on the modern horror Godzilla film. That's a full-blown, I would say, fairly quote-unquote scary. Shin Godzilla, also known as Shin Gojira, Godzilla Resurgence, and anything else. Haxor, shut up. So I personally don't see this film as a scary movie. But Birb, we'll let you go ahead and start us off here. Could you see how this is a horror movie like so many people dub it?
You know, it doesn't have a whole lot of horror elements in it, but I can see where they're coming from because how grotesque they made Godzilla in this, and like how different he looks, and how much more menacing he is. I feel like it can be classified as it, and like think about it, like some of the scenarios in this movie seem straight out of a horror movie. Like think about it, like a giant monster falling out of the ocean and just pouring like hundreds, millions of gallons of blood into the streets and just flooding them, and just like nobody knows what it is. It is so grotesque looking and just crashing in place, and it's slowly evolving, and nobody knows what to do. And like it feels really cool because they basically modernized the original Godzilla, and that's what's really cool about it.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and like
Oh, go ahead.
sorry for interrupting. I just
Oh,
want
no, you're fine. I want to hear more.
I want to bring one more point. And like I remember seeing like a deleted scene or something where it's like all blood and eyes all over the place. Have you guys seen that?
Oh, yeah. That was supposed to be Godzilla reproduces asexually.
Yeah.
When a part of him falls off, it would grow into a new Godzilla. That may sound familiar for viewers of my YouTube channel.
No, we don't talk about him.
The Godzilla timeline's real.
Yeah.
It's a shame because now we won't get a Shin Godzilla sequel. Maybe.
And
I'm happy.
I'd like to bring that up here in a second. And I do also believe there's another deleted scene where Godzilla literally pukes blood up whenever he's
No,
Shinagawa.
Shinagawa-kun.
Yeah, Shinagawa-kun.
The second form, yeah.
Okay, real quick. Kamada-kun is the fat
Yes.
one with the fat neck.
Don't be
right?
rude.
Hey,
Listen, I hate this design, okay? Shin Godzilla.
Get out of here. I'm moving you.
But you said you hated the movie.
Doesn't matter. Kamada-kun's
Kamada-kun is
good.
precious. How dare you?
And then the
movie
tail
sucks, but Kamada-kun's good.
does the tail have a name? Tadpole, whatever.
Tail.
Fat tail. Okay.
It has Swimmy Boy.
Swimmy Boy. Okay. Swimmy Boy. Kamada-kun. Shinagawa-kun is the most original to the original Godzilla design, and then
The
you
worst one.
have. I honestly thought that was better than Shin Godzilla itself with the freaking long tail and the fat rolls for legs.
Hey now.
And then
Jesus.
fifth form. I don't care for a whole lot. But what? Actually, Haxor, we'll go with you because I really don't know what to say about this. What do you see horror in this? Like Birb does, or what do you see other than bad CGI, textured monsters moving, kind of weird?
Hey now. Come on.
You're a rock star.
Oh, come on. Alright, I'll give you that. Say what you will, but I feel like they modeled the Shin Godzilla design off of a suit, and it looks real. That's why I like it. Like you said, how he looks weird and how he moves around weird. Like, are you saying like how he kind of just stumbles and stuff?
The CGI in Japan reminded me a lot of an Asylum film. Specifically when Godzilla's about ready to die down for the night or whatever, he moves very badly to me. It's too jerky. Um, they definitely need to work on their motion capture to me.
I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. I felt like some of the movements were kind of stiff, but like at the same time, it's like think about this. It's like a giant baby is just grows up on the mainland within a matter of like a day, and he doesn't really know what's going on, and he's just kind of dumb. He's stupid. He's just walking around. He doesn't know what's going on. People are shooting stuff at him, but he just falls on his face because he's fat.
Do you want to know what that sounds like to me?
What?
Cloverfield.
Well, Cloverfield's not fat.
True.
He ate
But he's
thick
stupid.
like Shin Gun. Cut that, baby. But like, I can see where you're coming from, but like, this one, like, he kind of evolves as he's going through to kind of adapt.
I also think that's a problem I have with Shin, is that he's like Superman. You can't really beat him. Whatever you throw at him, he'll just retaliate in about 30 seconds once he evolves. Like, there's no legitimate way of killing Shin Godzilla unless you find a way to dematerialize him at the speed of light and making sure there isn't a single particle of him left.
I mean, they froze him, didn't they?
Yeah, but that was for about 3 weeks. And then he would run rampant again.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
And then the U.S. would nuke Japan.
Yeah. Either way, Japan's screwed. Which we'll discuss the Shin Godzilla sequel. That'll never happen here in a second. Screen Rant, I know you're going to steal that if you haven't already. Enjoy that article you're going to type up.
No, Shin Godzilla 2 would basically be like Endgame. It would start with Godzilla waking up, and then it would just have the military nuke him.
Captain Marvel just comes out of nowhere. Hey,
No.
I'm gonna save you.
Don't you say that name here.
Captain Carvel.
Dude, that's better.
But anyway, like I felt like it was horror, and one of the reasons why I felt that way is the ending scene where we see all the little baby shins and
Humanoids, yeah.
huh?
Xenomorphs.
The humanoids.
Yeah, they're just crawling out of the tail and stuff like that, and it's very scary. Like, think of how big these things are. Like, sure, they're at the end of the tail, but like, they're about the size of the tail, right? Not that big, but they're pretty big.
They're human size.
No, they aren't.
They look a little
I'm
bit
pretty
bigger.
sure they are.
So you're saying
about, like, 6
humans
foot.
are the size of Godzilla's dorsal fin?
No. The person, at at the end, the tail, it's zoomed in, so you don't actually get to see, how tall they are, but I don't believe it was too tall.
Like, I don't think they're that big, but I think they're bigger than like regular humans. Yeah.
I gotcha. And do you have anything else you would like to say about the film?
I feel like the reason why it's horror, and I'm gonna say this one more time, it's basically just repeating words, but
Yeah.
it's he's more grotesque in the movie, and like it shows how much we've like polluted since like the 50s and stuff, and showed how much effect it's taking. Because Shin Godzilla comes out, and he's so much more powerful, and like just like it's not necessarily like a big like terrifying theme like the original Gojira, but like it's Who Will Know, that song. It's more like it's more graceful, but it's chaotic at the same time, you know?
I got you.
But do you though?
Not really.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, just cut that. It's fine. Yeah.
I
I think
get you.
I think that's what I've got to say.
And I guess now we can move on to what a potential sequel to Shin Godzilla would be. And real quick, here's what I'm gonna say. The movie would be about 30 minutes long because Godzilla would be in it for about 2 minutes as he evolves into the creatures, and then it would be like The Walking Dead. Best case scenario, they find a way to reverse that, and then he has to re-evolve. But that would be kind of stupid because you'd have to redo everything you just did again.
I thought it was like I heard it was supposed to have Shin Ghidorah.
That is not entirely true. There is artwork of quote unquote Shin Ghidorah, but it is not actually concept art for a movie. And
It
then
was
Shin
for
Ghidorah.
it was for the Universal ride, right?
This was before. It was for like the 65th anniversary, and then, like you said, Universal then had Godzilla versus Evangelion, the 4D ride, where they had a Ghidorah. However, it is not Shin Ghidorah. It is Eva Ghidorah, I would say. It's based off the original concept. So.
And then I remember they had that poster. I shared it with you. In the Godzilla store for their anniversary, and it was of Shin Godzilla fighting a mystery Ghidorah almost. Because it doesn't look like the Eva one.
But that's the one I was referring to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost got a blanket with that at G-Fest. I really wish I could have. But yeah, I like that Ghidorah. It definitely looks like it'd be a dark film, but I don't see what they could do with
it. Yeah. I think it kind of feels
Shin Ghidorah.
What?
I think it is officially Shin Ghidorah.
I mean,
or Universal Ghidorah. I can't remember.
It doesn't.
Well, Eva Ghidorah and Shin Ghidorah are two completely different things to me.
Technically, it's concept art Ghidorah.
True, you're very right. But the one in the 4D is different from the one seen in that poster. But Birb, what were you about to say?
I really like Shin Ghidorah or Eva Ghidorah, whatever. I like his design. But like, I think it's definitely like an interesting one. It's a unique one. Stuff like that.
And then Haxor, do you have anything to say about a Shin Godzilla sequel or Shin Ghidorah or anything like that?
I love Shin Ghidorah, but I don't want a sequel.
Thank you. I completely agree. I don't want Walking Dead with Godzilla, because that's what we would get.
I've never seen Walking Dead, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Zombies and Godzilla. That's basically what it would. Well, okay. Yeah. Essentially, what it would be is Godzilla would be in the movie about 10 minutes. He would finish evolving into just billions of bazillions or of Brazilians.
Brazilian? Yeah, bud.
Many fifth form Godzillas, and they would take over the planet, and we would all die, and then it would be post-apocalyptico.
You know what I kind of like to think about it almost is I like to feel like the legendary Godzilla and Shin might share a universe almost. I feel like. I don't know. I'm weird.
That'd be interesting.
Like I kind of feel like since the Godzilla that we know is just kind of, he spends most of his time in like the States and stuff because I don't know why. But like I feel like Shin would be, he's just chilling in Japan, but since nothing's really happened with him in a while, stuff. I don't know. That didn't make any sense.
I gotcha.
No, you don't.
I getcha.
Okay.
Haxor, do you have any final comments, or we could then move on to the American Godzilla?
Which one?
The good one.
Okay.
So
So the 98
Haxor,
film is a very
Haxor, you good?
That's a certified grab moment.
Haxor, are you good?
Hey bro, you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Axler, we're almost done. Okay.
Well, finally we'll be discussing the Monsterverse, which it always seems like we end up discussing it. I guess we really love the Monsterverse. First things first, the 2012 San Diego Comic-Con teaser trailer for Godzilla 2014.
Ah, yes. Where it shows
Beautiful.
a giant dead thing.
Vishnu. Okay, I love
Excuse
the
me?
trailer. That it was called Vishnu.
I know.
Oh, I wish they could have done that. I don't think they could have done King of the Monsters though, the way they did. However, I definitely think that what would have been 2012 would have been better than what we got in 2014.
Yeah.
Birb, do you have anything else to really add on to that? It's really dark to be for
it is.
Godzilla.
It's very dusty as well. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I remember seeing that, and I remember seeing it in the theater. And
Really?
yeah, I remember seeing it, and it was weird. Like, I remember seeing Godzilla just kind of looking up and roaring, and it was weird. It was like, it completely caught me off guard because I had no idea that there was going to be a Godzilla movie. And it just caught me off guard, and I was like, because Godzilla had been dark pretty much, like, the series was pretty much in purgatory for years and years, and then, like, just to see something, it was just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But, like, I felt like it was really intense and scary for, like, a Godzilla trailer. It wasn't what I
Yeah,
was used
most
to.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most prominent images I remember from it is the train car where the dead bodies are.
Oh, that was weird.
That
that's
is
scary.
so weird. I really wish I could have read or at least seen what would have happened.
It's in King of the Monsters.
Yeah, it appears in King of the Monsters. A lot of the footage that was unused ended up in King of the Monsters, but I really wish I could have saw what this originally was going to be, because this was dark, this was dingy, this was dirty, this was I would say certified horror movie for Godzilla.
Yeah,
It would have been dark.
And while I adore 2014, it would have been very interesting to see what we would have gotten.
Yes. Haxor, what do you have to say about the 2012 San Diego Comic-Con teaser trailer?
I like it.
Why do you like it?
It's just I really like Vishnu. I don't know why.
Why do you like Vishnu?
Kind of reminds me of a mix between a crustacean and a tardigrade.
I remember, I think in Vrano's video, his Godzilla animation, I remember he had like a reference to it, but like it was just like It was only like the body part though. It was weird.
Hmm.
Uh,
But add on to what you were saying, Haxor. I like. Did you like where it was going? Did you prefer
Yeah, yeah.
2014 or? Because I know you love them.
I'm happy with what we got with 2014, but it would have been cool. I was really hoping that Vishnu was going to be one of the Titans in King of the Monsters, because it would mix with like what they're going with like the Titans being named after gods.
Well, I think this has been fairly good. Um, Of course, you can find us on Twitter at Kaiju_Converse. That's Kaiju_CONVERS. If you don't want to talk to us through Twitter, we have an email, kaijuconversation@gmail.com. All lowercase, all one word. You know the drill. If you want to join our Discord server where you can join us on an episode, you can talk to the host, you can carry out conversations, and it's a lot of fun. Isn't that right, Birb?
it is. It is a very fun server, and we just goof around and talk about all different types of kaiju media, and it's all fun.
Yep, I totally am not forcing him or paying him to say that.
Holding a sweet. Got that out. All right. Alright.
And of course, if you have questions, you can also ask us anyway through those. If you haven't already, rate us on iTunes. I don't believe there is a review, as of right now, but if there is, I will get that next time. That always boosts our ratings. And if you haven't already, we also have merchandise. If you just go on to Google and look up store merch, or not store merch, Kaiju Conversation TeePublic, it should be one of the first links, or if you go to our YouTube channel, you can find it in the About page. And as you can tell, subscribe to us on YouTube, where you can get exclusive post-podcast interviews, rants, discussions. There's not a whole lot right now, but in the future we're hoping to get that. And of course follow us on any platform you listen to us on. That is greatly appreciated. And a big thanks to our editor Justice for editing all of our episodes, even if they turn out to be a little wonky, he makes them sound amazing. So thank you very much, Justice. I am of course ET13 Productions. You can find me on YouTube as ET13 Productions. Haxor, where can we find you at?
You can find me at the YouTube channel of Haxorzilla and the Twitter handle of Haxorzilla129.
Okay. In Birb, where can we find you at?
You can find me on YouTube. I do not have any other social media as of late, but I will get one. You can find me at the one and only Birb on YouTube. Yeah.
Get a Twitter,
Awesome.
coward.
I know that I want to punch you in the nose.
Well, I think this has been rather fun. I hope informative to some people, and good discussion.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you guys so much for listening. This is the Kaiju Conversation crew, where we talk big every week. Okay, that sounded good. I'm using that as our outro.